What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Arch coming at you with an RPG guide video, this time focusing on force powers. This is going to be a supplemental video to the last video I made, the Force and Destiny specific character creation guide, where I went through step by step and talked about how to add flavor to your character and just role play, how to improve the role play of the character that you're creating here. So I noticed when I rewatched the video that I didn't touch at all on force powers and force rating and just anything at all, and so I wanted to make this supplemental video and just come in at that topic and make sure I get my 2 cents in on that and give you a little bit of advice on how to make sure you maximize your roleplay potential when you throw these dudes out. So I have a few notes here on relevant issues, so to speak, in regards to role playing your force power and picking the right force power for your character. Really, I mean, that might be the topic of this video, is, you know, making sure you get the right power that would accentuate the flavor of your character. Okay, so the first thing you need to take into account, and anybody who's unfamiliar with the system needs to first wrap their brain around, is how the force powers work in Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars system. They have what's called force rating. It's the limiting factor on your force powers. So it's going to cost you a lot of your XP to get your force rating above 1, and some of the more fancy powers take a higher force rating, and in order to utilize your powers effectively and to their fullest potential, you're going to need a higher force rating than 1. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind, that if you want your character to be someone who is using force powers a lot, you know, maybe even at all, you might want to go as far as at all. I mean, if you have the intent of using force powers from time to time, you know, I would say every third session or so, and it's not going to be the type of thing where you're relying on it. So like if it fails, you're basically boned. You know, go ahead, force rating 1, you're straight. You know, have fun, get your powers, get your game on, like, you know, role play that flavor. But if it's going to be a key component of your character, when you pick your career and your specialization, make sure you pick one that is going to allow you to get down to force rating 2 quickly. And you know, if you have to forego characteristics to get that force rating 2, if the force rating 2 is the characteristic that you're more worried about, that's cool, man. So be it. I mean, you'll have more Jedi flavor on your character, and you'll get to roleplay that aspect up. But, you know, I just wanted to touch on that. Make sure you keep that in mind. You know, it's going to cost you a lot of XP to get your force rating above 1, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to look at what powers you might want and how much you're going to be using those powers. The next thing is in relation to the powers. Is keep in mind that some of them have linked skills and characteristics. So let's take enhance, for example. That's a basic power. Lots of Jedis want to take that, just because you see it a lot in the films and stuff. So it's tied directly. The base power is tied directly to athletics, and then you can spend other XP to tie it to other skills like coordination, piloting skills, and so on and so forth. So if you have a character, maybe an Ataru striker, like I said, you know, you should take enhance, because the top of the tree here, you can enhance you can just fully enhance agility, and you know, that's your bread and butter. That's your thing. So if you can, that's how you enhance your agility above and beyond the maximum capability of a biological entity. So, you know, keep that in mind. If you have a characteristic or a stat or a skill that you're trying to say, oh, you know, this is my thing, this is what I'm good at, and there's a matching force power, you know, definitely prioritize that in your mind of choices. I mean, maybe you might not end up taking it, but keep in mind that will fit your character's flavor a lot easier, and you will have better results when you use that power. And I guess you could also come at it from the other direction and try to shore up your weaknesses with your force powers. And that's another way to go at it. I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want with your character, but right now what we're trying to focus on is just bringing out the maximum roleplay potential. So I like to focus my stuff down that way. It's easy to get in the mindset. I can think on that one track, and these other things are, you know, they're not blocks away. They're just right up, right there in that building right here, and I can just grab them when I need them. I don't know if you got my metaphor in my brain. Was kind of weird, but so the last thing I want to bring up, just as the relevant issues, I'm going to go through the force powers and talk about each a little bit more specifically here. But this is the last overarching core issue, is your background and your morality. You have to really think, how'd you learn that power? Is it natural, innate in you? And how does that power manifest? Because if you look at a lot of the powers, they kind of have a dual aspect to them, like the Force does. It has a light and a dark. So let's look at heal harm for an example there. It's obvious, it's right in the title, heal or harm. You can do both things depending on whether you tap into the light side or the dark side. So you can really play into that. If you take a power that has dual sides and you're a more conflicted character, that can really play into it. Maybe when you roll for your force power, you don't even know what you're going to do with it, but you just know, I'm going to go with whatever the dice tell me, and you do that. So that can influence your role play and really help you bring out the dual nature of the force and really the conflicted nature of your character. So keep that in mind. What is your character's social dealings, or what does he, where does he stand on the social scale? Is he more outgoing? Where he might be less afraid to showcase his or use his force powers because he knows he can cover it through his wile or his charm. Or maybe you're more of a laid back, secretive type character, and you would rarely use your force powers in public, or never use your force powers in public. But if it was a battle and you knew you were going to kill everybody in sight anyway, you would still be reticent to use it because someone could get away, or maybe they might not fully die or anything like that. You need to think about that, and when you pick your powers and think about, do I want to invest a lot of XP into this to really improve this aspect? Maybe that is what you want to do, and so when you finally do come out with your power, it's like, oh man, you were playing so cool and shy the whole time. I didn't know you were so fucking powerful, and here you go with your maxed out force power. So and then the last thing that is pretty obvious. I would say it's the most obvious point, and probably the easiest for people to grab onto, because it's probably the one thing everybody will do for sure, even if they don't add a lot of flavor in all these other aspects. They'll say their training, where they got that power. So I would say play it up, maybe add in a character. Like I trained from this person. We trained together. Maybe we learned together. He wasn't type of a master. We were both students together with no master. You can always bring in different types of flavors. If you're a Jedi of the Order, pick a master. Make up a knight, make up a Jedi knight, and say, okay, well he was this, and he taught me this, and I liked him because of these things. I didn't like him because of these things. So that can really enrich and add to your role play. Every time you use your force powers, you can really bring forth that history of your character. Okay, so now let's jump into. I want to quickly just jump back to a previous point and talk about this force rating deal, because some of the powers have limiters. Like you can't take the top tier power, Protect Unleash, which is the Force Lightning, and 2 to Menace. Like Yoda, he blocks the Force Lightning with 2 to Menace. That's what it's called. And when Darth Vader blocks those blaster bolts. And if you've seen the KOTOR, the Tor, I guess, the Old Republic cutscene where Bastila Shin, is that her name? Satele Shin. She blocks that fucking lightsaber. She blocks Darth Magus. I can't remember the dude's name anyway. She blocks a lightsaber with her hand. Just the lightsaber goes into her hand and it doesn't come out the back. She just straight bodies it with her hand. That's 2 to Menace, man. That's a friggin' god level application of 2 to Menace, man. Yoda would be impressed by that shit. That shit was, oh damn, okay, you made that boy's plasma sword just go away. So that was legit. That's the top tier. You gotta have force rating 3 for that. That's the only power. Oh, no, wait. Am I tripping? I am tripping. Battle Meditation is 2. So, yeah, 2 to Menace, 3rd level, Force Lightning, 3rd level. The only way you're going to get that is to take probably 2 specializations, or the Sage or the Mystic specialization. I mean, it's a high XP investment to get up to those powers, but they're so flashy. If you do invest in that, it's easy to bring out that roleplay flavor, man. I mean, I would cry tears of rage and disappointment if somebody had spent all that XP and time to get up to that, and then they didn't really step to that flavor. So, you know, if you've gotten to that level, fucking play that shit up, make that a big ass deal. Like, you are a very strong Jedi at that point. So, you know, Force rating 2, that's probably a lot more common. Lots of people will probably get to Force rating 2. I'll probably have a few characters at Force rating 2 eventually. And there's 2 powers that take that one, Bind and Battle Meditation. Now, these are viable in terms of starting a character with these powers, especially if you start with more than the if you're not just building a base character, if you're jumping into a campaign that's been running. So, you know, Bind is an enhanced move power. They sort of function similarly. So if you do decide, you know, I don't want to fuck with characteristics too much, I want to jump right up to Force rating 2, I would say definitely keep your eye on Bind. It's a great offensive power, and it's cinematically flavorful. You can just imagine when Kylo Ren stops that blaster bolt. I remember the first time I saw that scene in the theater, you know, because everybody was hyped as fuck for The Force Awakens. So, okay, what are they going to show me that I can really say, oh, that was kick-ass, I didn't expect that. And right off the bat, man, the boy's trying to shoot him, and he says, and that energy bolt just stops, and I had pose face, man. Both of us, we were just like, what? Did that happen? Can you do that? Yes, apparently you can, man. That's like 2 to Menace and Bind combined. I don't know, man. Like, don't mess with Kylo Ren. Yo, the Skywalker line too crunk. So let's get back on track, man. Most people are going to be sticking with these one Force rating powers, but I'm going to say right now, if you have in your head, you know, I want to be a Force user, I'm going to be moving a lot, I'm going to be using my enhance a lot, or I'm going to use these other cool powers a lot, try to get to Force rating 2. Make it a priority, because you're going to be able to activate your power a lot more. You're not going to have to get your conflicts and pull on those dark sides as much. And we're going to touch on that at the end of this video. So let's jump through, and let's just let's go through a little bit of these powers and see if we can add a little flavor. So Battle Meditation, I didn't talk on that. There's a lot of great masters of that, you know, including Yoda. But you know, if you really want to get your Battle Meditation flavor on, play KOTOR, play the original Knights of the Old Republic video game, and it's kind of a highlight in that the Battle Meditation power is a highlight of that game. It's made a big deal of, you know, the influence it can have on large scale battles. And, you know, so when you play that in your personal games, you know, keep in mind, you know, you have a large influence on the battle if you put this power into effect. And, you know, don't just I activate my Battle Meditation. Don't just, you know, fuck that, man. Play that shit up like, you know, say how you're making people feel, say how you're bolstering their spirit. Or if you want to go so far, you can, you know, describe how you're dishing out specific things. So, you know, Battle Meditation is easy flavor. I feel like I went through Bind. It's the same thing. It's just a souped up move. Enhance is basic. You can move fast and jump. They have the right side of the tree is a lot of leaping, so you can jump like they did in episode 1. Foresee is a great power. I really have a lot of I have a lot of desire to see this well used in game. It's a little, I feel like there's a couple of powers in this game. Foresee is one of them. Excuse me. A couple powers in this game that really need a lot of GM involvement. So make sure you talk to the GM. Like, I want to take this power. Is that cool? You can be able to work with me. Am I going to get some good flavor out of this? And is that going to disrupt the flow of the game? But you know, Foresee is going to let you see the future, basically. So you can really get your role play on that, man. Think of that scene where Yoda is sitting in the dark with that one beam of light, and he's you know, Anakin is killing those sand people, and he's like, oh shit. So it's real easy to add this Foresee power and a couple of the others into your game as Force visions. So, you know, think in terms of that, and, you know, even as the player, as long as you're not taking the story into your own hands and taking control of the story by giving yourself a vision, I mean, I would say feel free to go ahead and throw that out just as RP flavor only. You know, maybe it's not super relevant. It's not going to advance or detract from the story. It's only just going to enrich the characters that are right there, right then. You know, so you just feel free to foresee it up. Now, the next power in the book is Heal Harm. This is a real dangerous power because it's the most mechanically effective power. It's not a very RP power. I mean, you can definitely RP it. I've played lots of clerics in D&D, and healing is something that I've found ways to add flavor to. You know, take your domain and have that color how the healing interacts with people. You know, so as a Jedi, it's less varied how it is seen and felt in the world. But one thing that I would like to drop in right here is an innovation that they put into the new canon is that kind of, you know, that sound and that deep bass feeling that they put into the force powers. So definitely, if you're drawing on dark side emotions, I would say definitely play that up. And anytime it's ominous, you know, play up that you get that, and you kind of feel it. You kind of feel that sound. It's not even so much that you're hearing it; it's that you're fucking feeling it. So, you know, this Heal Harm is a great place to put that. You know, maybe it's less ominous and less foreboding when you heal, but you still get that kind of, your ears are kind of closed off, like, you know, it's, you know, so that's how I might play that up that way. And also the feeling, obviously, take your 5 senses into account when you're RPing these physical manifestations of the Force. So the next one is Influence. I mean, anybody who's watched basic Star Wars doesn't really need my help on that. You know, wave your hand and give somebody a command, baby. You want to do that. Everybody wants to do that. Misdirect is a lot more flavorful one, a cool one. You can do the illusions. Any type of stealth or skullduggery type character, I'll definitely say take a good look at this power. This is more fantasy style right here. This is imagination based. There's mechanical chunks that get involved in it, but it's really up to your imagination, man. You can take the misdirect power as far as you want in your game and really manifest excellent storytelling with that. So don't just think of it as your get out of jail free card, man. Think of it as your power up the story. You know, like when you want to kick up the interactions a notch and, like, you know, do something unexpected. This is the joint right here. Move, obviously, I'm gonna put that in the same boat as misdirected, or not misdirect. You know, influence and enhance. That's the basic, the three core powers for a Jedi. You know, move, enhance, and sense, or I guess influence isn't one, it's sense. So we're getting to that. Protect, unleash, I talked about. That's what I call Tuda Menace. That's I guess the old school name for it. You know, absorbing and redirecting energy, or expelling energy from your body. Plo Koon actually had that power as well. His came in the form of yellow lightning. So, you know, keep that in mind. As your mental state changes, your powers take on different physical looks and feels. So, you know, that you can play that up too. That's a little bit of roleplay flavor you can add in as well. Seek is a power that I would always want in my group. It's kind of what I imagine all Jedis have naturally. So, you know, to me as a Jedi, I kind of play as if I have sense and seek anyway. I just don't try to gain their mechanical benefits. So I'm going to combine these two, seek and sense. To me, this is the true mental center of a Jedi. Okay, your sense, it starts with your senses, but it ends in seeking. So, you know, you're meditating. You're a meditative individual because you have no choice but to think about your emotions and control them and channel them into a path that's not going to be destructive to yourself. So sense is a natural offshoot of that. You learn to to what other people's where other people's emotional states are at. And so you can play off that mental sharpness to get to the level of seek, where you can find things that you're not directly interacting with, knowledge or people even. So that's going to end this section. I know I did say I was going to touch in a little bit more on the morality and conflict. I wanted to tie that in, and just make sure that you're using the morality and conflict system in conjunction with your force power rolls to role play your flavor and make sure that you do utilize those mechanics. So, you know, if you're getting those dark sides, don't immediately think, man, I shouldn't do that. You know, oh, I was gonna use my power, but I won't because dark side. It's cool, man. Just do it. Just take the dark side, take the conflict. The dice are influencing the story at that point, and you know, color your power that way. Maybe you do it more like Anakin always did, and your base is a negative emotion, but you're doing it from a good place. So you can describe it that way, and you know, it's still dark side, man. He's still mad as fuck, but you know, I would say definitely play up the conflict and morality system into your force powers, and let's try to tie them together as game masters and really make full use of them, to bring out those conflicts that we need to get our morality going up and down. So this has been a really, really long video. I apologize for the duration. I guess maybe I should be chopping these videos up, but I appreciate anybody who stayed till the end. I'm grateful. Give me some comment, like, subscribes. Definitely video responses as well, with your experiences with force powers and how you really bring out the role play and the emotion in them. So please, I'll be looking forward to those. Y'all have a good one. It's your boy Arch.